Lucas Live. My name is Lucas Tyndale. I am your host. Super excited to be back with you guys on season 3. This is season 3, episode number 2. I have an amazing guest here today with us. She was in the Army for 13 years. She is the owner of her own business, Fourth and Belden. She does photography. She does consulting. She does a whole bunch of stuff, okay? She's the mother of this amazing little girl who she wouldn't allow on the show tonight. I think we're going to have to put up a poll or a petition or something. I don't know. She said she would have taken over the whole show. And one day I think her daughter needs a show, or her and her daughter need a show. But I'm so excited to have our guest on tonight. Christian Turner is here with us tonight. I cannot wait to have her on. She had me laughing just moments ago. As we were preparing for the show, I was already laughing. I tell her I think she is absolutely hilarious. If you don't follow her on social media, you should, because she is absolutely hilarious. And she says she's serious. She said that's just how she thinks and how she is, which I think is even more amazing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, here's what I'm going to do, and here's what you should do if you're watching live or by replay. You should go on Facebook and share. Or if you're on YouTube, you should share the link to somebody. Or if you're on LinkedIn, just share it, so somebody else can see it, and let somebody else see what you're watching and what you're enjoying. So I'm just going to go and share it to my personal page now so that other people can see it. You guys join in the fun, and we're going to get started. And I'm excited about it. I want to also give a shout out to a great friend of mine who has another wonderful business, and I'm going to look it up. I was going to play a little commercial for it, you know what I mean? And but something didn't go right, so we didn't have it, but I might find it on here. While I'm looking, I'm going to check it out. I have another monitor over here, so I might check that out. But Kina Woods, I don't know if you guys know Kina and Dave Woods, but Kina has Sugar Babies Cookies. And she's all the way in Florida. I think Jacksonville or somewhere in Florida, Gainesville, somethingville. Amityville. No, that's a crazy place. Somethingville in Florida. She's in Somethingville in Florida. And she's gonna send us some cookies. She's gonna send me some cookies to try live. I mean, I'm assuming so. She texting me right now. Yeah, so I think she's gonna send me some soon. And she was gonna send me a little something to play, but I don't have it. But that's okay. We're gonna find it. All right. She's gonna send it to me in a week or so. We'll play it next week. We're gonna have episodes next week as well. Stay tuned for the guests that we will be having here on Lucas Live next week. I'm excited to be back with you guys. I know you guys have noticed I've been traveling a lot, so I haven't been able to do the show as much, but we're back, and we're going to make it happen as we head into 2023. We're going to bring you guys more great guests, more great topics, more great conversations. Our guest today has so much to share, and I'm so excited to pull it all out of her so she can share it with all of you. You guys are going to be amazing. Shout out to my lovely wife, Kareem Marie. Thank you for being here. Hello. How are you this evening? Thank you for all your love and support as always. Amanda Jean Dukes, our producer, thank you so much for being here. What's up? My wonderful cousin, Cork and Canvas is what they call her. Cork Canvas is what her Facebook name. Cork Canvas is what they call Lisa Lucas Sims. Lisa, what's going on, Lisa? Glad to have you here. She is G Lee. She is a new G Lee. Hey, she was going to be a grandmother. And like many other the wonderful, beautiful grandmothers out there, she was trying to find the right name. She got certain things the nieces and nephews call her and the other family members, and she needed something special for her first granddaughter. And she is super excited, and I know and love all the pictures you guys have of Marche's beautiful baby. So glad. No more Sims. Okay, let me take that down. Lisa Lucas. All right, that's what I always called you, but I was like, there was a Sim. Okay. Gotcha. Lisa Lucas. Glad to have you here. I'm a Lucas. Everybody always asks, are you a Lucas? And I say yes. And they say, we've been through that, right? Is your name Lucas? And I say, that's the craziest thing I ever heard. What's wrong with you? But yes, my family are the Lucases. So shout out to the Lucas family. So glad you're here, Lisa. To everybody else here, say hello, say what's up. So I see you here. LaShawn Lewis, what's going on? Glad to have you here. Lucas Live Media, we are here. So glad. Hey, we're also streaming. If you guys haven't seen, we've been streaming I almost said Massillon and McKinley. I meant McKinley boys and girls varsity basketball games. It's been so much fun. We're excited. We're working with Canton City Schools. So sometimes there's some technical things going on. We're not in control of all the technical things, but we are so excited to be the channel, the output that they asked us. They called me. They called me. I don't know, Martin fans. You know what I'm talking about? They called me, right? Me and Bruh Man. They called us both. So they called us and they said we want to put the games on your channel. We're like, that would be amazing. We're so excited about that. So we had the 4 home football games streaming to our channel. And now we have the home basketball, boys and girls varsity basketball game streaming to our channel. Barring any technical difficulties. Again, sometimes there's some issues there. We're working with the school to make it great, and we're excited to make this thing go now and into the future. This Saturday is the Massillon McKinley boys varsity basketball game. Massillon McKinley basketball. I know it's not the same as football, but we're excited about that this Saturday. We will be there to make that happen. So we're super, super excited about it. We hope you guys check us out for the Massillon McKinley boys basketball varsity game this Saturday. Amanda, tell me what time that is. I know she knows what time that game is, so we make sure you guys can check it out. What's up, Gigi? You're about to speak to a leader. Let prophecy unfold. All right, let's go. I love it. Let's go. That's somebody who knows her. I can feel it. She knows her. She knows her. What's going on, Shamar? Glad to have you here. Always excited to see you. Shamar, you need to follow Christian. Christian, you need to follow Shamar. 2 very hilarious people, insightful people, brilliant women, but also hilariously funny. So Shamar, you and Christian, my guest today, should connect. All right. She's absolutely hilarious and amazing as well. Again, if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you share and tell somebody about it. If you are watching on YouTube, share it. Send the link to somebody you know. If you're watching on LinkedIn, share it as a post. Share it to your page. Tell somebody about it. If you're watching it live or by replay, so people can also enjoy the great conversation we're going to have today. All right. If you missed yesterday's episode, we had Hubert Carpenter, one of my lifelong best friends, on yesterday talking about all the wonderful things he has going on. So proud of him. He's starting his own church, and he has so many wonderful things that he's doing in the Akron community, in the Canton community, in the Massillon community. He is starting his church in the Massillon community. Yes, all my Canton people, I know it's tough, but you know, he's a good guy. And so we're going to show him some love and some support. So we're excited about that. What's up? Dar Zachary in the building. What's up, Darshanette? How are you? So glad to have you. Thank you so much for being here. We love Dar and Henry. We love them so much. Glad you guys are here. They were guests here on Lucas Live. We were live from HD's place. That was when I think that was when you just had one, right? Now there's more than one. So we're excited about that. Hello, Angela Drake. That is my aunt. Is it aunt or is it aunt? Somebody help me out. I don't know. I always said aunt, but someone said it's not aunt, it's aunt. I said, nobody told me that. I don't know, but it's okay. Aunt or aunt, whatever you want to say. My wonderful aunt Angela. So like Maya Angelou. My aunt Angela. My aunt Angela. That's what I've always said. So glad she's here. Hello. Kelly, how are you? Glad to have you here. You and your daughter are in that picture right there. You guys look like twins. All good. Is that what's going on? Hello. So glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for saying hello. My cousin Christina, hello. Thank you for being here on YouTube. We got some people on YouTube, Facebook. I don't know if anybody's here on LinkedIn yet, but all good. Glad you guys are here for the show. We're not going to prolong it anymore. I'm going to bring on my great guest. I'm excited to talk to her. She's somebody who like Wendy Williams used to say she had friends in her head. I don't know if you guys ever saw Wendy Williams back in the day, right? Yeah, anyway, totally, we're not going to talk about Wendy, whatever. But Wendy would have friends in her head, right? She'd be like, that's my friend in my head. She didn't really know him, right? Christian is my friend in my head. She was my friend in my head before I really knew her. Just watching her on social media and watching her posts and all the funny things she said, I was like, she is hilarious. Like, who is she? And then my wife knew her. My wife grew up with her and known her for years. She's like, oh, that's Christian. And she knew all about her. And I was like, I need to know her. I don't really know her. And then I would see her different places and always say hello. And she was always so cool. She is absolutely hilarious. But serious at the same time. I said this to her the other day. I was like, you're hilarious and you're serious. Like, you're both things at the same time. So I'm excited to hear what she has to share with us tonight. Without any further ado, as they say, I'd like to welcome my guest, Miss Christian Turner. Christian, how are you today?
Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi, Lucas. Thank you for having me here today. I'm happy to see that there's some folks in my circle, and that the person, Gigi, that's my mother. So you already knew.
I can feel it.
You already knew it was somebody that knew me, but I'm just thankful for you for having me on your platform, and thank you for, my friends and family who are tuned in tonight.
Yes, I am extremely excited to have you on here today. Um, I was already fascinated by watching you. Like we can watch people on social media now. It's media. It's a media outlet. It's like the TV or the news. So I was always watching. Like, man, she's fascinating. Then you and your daughter would be on there. You'd be talking about your daughter, and I'm like, that girl is hilarious. And this little cute little girl, and she's telling all these stories about her. Is this even possibly real? And you told me the other day, you're like, when you talk about your daughter, Bree, and what's
They're
going on with
absolutely
her,
true.
it's real.
Absolutely true. And you just have to know Bree to understand. And she acts so much like me already, so I have my work cut out for me. But she's a
It's gonna be
blessing,
a
and
wonderful
she's a
life.
light, and
Yes,
I enjoy her.
I can't. She is actually. If you guys are looking at this overlay, that is her who is surrounding us here. I couldn't think of a better way to show her today. She wasn't on. She's not going to be on with us today, but I thought
Oh, hi, Dina.
somehow we got to have her here with us because she's a star in her own right. Again, shout out to your mom who's here showing love. She's watching Bree right now. Does she got Bree right now? Because we have to bring them
She
both
does
on.
have Bree.
Okay. Hey, mom, get ready. No. Okay, it's all good. We appreciate you, mom, for holding it down. What's going on? Shout out to my man Lester Sanders in the building. What's going on, Lester? Lester says, "Hey,
Lester's
Chris,
my cousin.
Lester, and Lester's your cousin." See,
Hmm.
it's like a treasure box. You just keep finding more great
Hmm.
things. I didn't even know. That's my guy. Shout out
Hmm.
to Mr.
Yeah, I
Lester
got quite a few
Sanders.
family in the comments. I appreciate y'all.
Is that right? See, I didn't know. I didn't know. Nobody told me.
Hmm.
Nobody told me. All right, Adina, we just got to say hi to some people. Adina is here. She's saying hey. Um, all right, let's see. Let's see, baby doll. Everybody's excited that we got some Bree on here. Everybody's excited. True Life Annie, she really is her own person, her whole own movement. All right, so let's talk a little bit. You have so much to share, and one thing I thought about when, and I wanted to be careful because men come on shows and men are recognized for their accomplishments in business and in the world. Women come on shows and they're like, she's a wonderful mother. And I didn't want to do that just to do that. Like that wasn't the thing. Yet, I think and I don't think you're taking any offense to that. I want to talk about you as a mother to this dynamic little girl. You told me something the other day. You said your daughter, you really believe your daughter is a light. You really believe
I
your daughter is
absolutely
a
do.
gift. Talk to us about your daughter, Bree. Tell us her name. Tell us her whole name for those who don't know. Tell us some of the things you call her, and then talk
So
to us
my
about her.
daughter's name is Briseis Francesca Ball. She was born in 2020. But something that I always tell people is when I introduce myself, I never lead with mother because I was a whole person before I had
I
her.
love that. See, I
Um,
didn't even know that, but I was thinking,
and
guys always say
yeah,
she's a mother and a. Okay, much
yeah,
respect to that. Okay,
yeah. But no, she is a light, and I think that she was born during a time where some of us just needed that. We just needed a little glow. And from day one, she is just so sweet and so intelligent already. And her vocabulary is far beyond what I expected at 2.5. And
who's
she's
two and a half?
wonderful. She's 2.5.
She's only two and a half.
Yeah.
That
It
little
seems like
star.
she seems like she's been here forever. So she recently got signed to a talent agency. So I'm just
Did
hoping.
she?
Yeah, so we're just waiting for her first opportunity and her first break because I genuinely, everybody believes that their child is special.
Yes.
Everybody believes that their child is something, but I genuinely believe that Perseus really was delivered to our lives at a very specific time. And I can't wait for the opportunity for her to be a light to others.
I love it. I love it. She says, "Hi, mommy." She's watching the
Oh, hi,
show
Princess.
now. So she is a star. I didn't even know two and a half. I mean, that is absolutely incredible that at two and a half, she's already a star and that she got signed to a talent agency. I was going to ask if you had any thoughts about that. When you think about that, what are some things you'd love to see her do? I mean, sometimes people are like, I don't want my child to be in too much stuff. And we're going to talk a little bit about child safety in this world today.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
what would you like to see her do? What do you think would be something that she would like to do?
Well, I plan to enroll her in your friend V Joy Ellis's acting classes because I really look forward to honing that talent that I believe is in her. But I'd love her to do print, television, whatever. Basically, at the end of the day, whatever God has for her is what I believe she'll have.
Yeah.
And whatever her gifts are, I believe she'll be a blessing to others. But yeah, I look forward to guiding her through that process. And I think sometimes kids get lost because they don't always have the right people in their corner. People will say they will advocate for you, but that's not always the case. And I think many of us have had that life lesson of, you know, everybody in your face isn't your friend.
Mm.
And we have to be very conscious of the people that we have around, the people that we have around us. So I plan to be very conscious with that with her. So
I
I look
love
forward
that.
to it.
I love it. I your daughter. I have I met her. I think maybe I met her once, but I feel like I know her because she's a star. And the Joy Ellis. There's no better person to work with. So I'm glad you're working with my good friend the Joy Ellis. Somebody tag Joy Ellis. If you're on Facebook, you can tag people. You can say at so and so. Turn on the show at so and so. You're missing it. So right now, everybody at somebody and tell them to tune in and watch the show. You're missing it. Christian's on. It's great. And somebody tag Joy and tell her, Kareen, Amanda, somebody tag Joy. Tell Joy to jump on and check this out. Joy, actually, her business, Joy Life Talent, she actually worked with the young lady who played Annie at the local production of Annie. And she said when she started working with this girl, even up to the point of her auditioning, she was just going to audition for any part. She was like, I'd just be happy to be in it. But she helped her to break out, to find her true voice, to find herself as a young actor and a singer and a performer. And it was absolutely incredible. This girl looks like she had been doing it her whole life, and it was just absolutely amazing. So shout out to Joy Ellis, Joy Life Talent Agency. My daughter is taking acting classes. My daughter will be shut in a room somewhere practicing monologues because she likes it. And that's what you want. Your children doing things that they enjoy, and it's not like
Hmm.
homework. And we recently started homeschooling our daughter to expose her to more things like this so her future could be her own and not just be what the school told her it had to be. So she's doing a lot of great things. So shout out to Joy, singing classes, acting classes. When I'm talking and my voice ain't right, I call Joy, like, Joy, what am I doing? I'm out here traveling and talking. I need some help. And she helps me out. So shout out to her. Shout out to your daughter, Bree. Shout out to your mom, to your family, to everyone. Let's jump into the story of you. Talk to us. Born and raised Canton, Ohio. Is that true? Talk to us a little bit about your life, a little bit in your journey up to, why don't we talk your life a little bit up to the fact that Canton McKinley graduate and then went on to the Army. So let's kind of head down that road.
So I was actually born in Japan. I was born in
Hold
Okinawa.
on, hold on,
My
wait.
parents.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Stop the press. You can't just throw that out there. I was just born.
I get when
You're
you say
so
so.
fascinating. Every time I say something to you, you say something else, and I'm like, what? Okay, go ahead. Born in Japan
So
randomly.
I'm a Navy baby. So my
Okay.
parents were in the military. So I was born at Camp Lester, in Okinawa, Japan, and I moved to Ohio when I was about 3. Um, so I've been in Canton for the most part since then. I graduated from McKinley in '04.
Mhm.
And then I went on to the University of Akron. So I have a degree in business and organizational communication and public relations from the University of Akron. I also hold a paralegal certificate from Akron. But as I get to Akron, because at first I was going to go to the Air Force, and then I kind of decided I don't really want to do that, so I went to undergrad.
Okay.
And then I was broke. We just call a spade a spade. I ain't had no money. Um,
Right.
and I decided to join the army. So I joined the army as a medic and an LPN. So I initially got my LPN license. I sat for the NCLEX for the state of Texas. Um, so I joined the army. I was in training for about a year and 9 months, and then I came back, started up classes again, and then boom, first deployment. So I went to Baghdad in 2010. I ran my own immunizations clinic, and I passed medication for 2 detainees. So basically, folks we rounded up that weren't fond of Americans, so to speak. So I did that
Wow.
for a year. Yeah. My first tour was really interesting experience. I learned a lot about myself that first tour.
Just
Um,
a tour
and
in
it was just,
Baghdad. Okay, hold on, hold on,
yeah.
hold on. See, we don't have any appreciation for things like this, right? People think it's rough. They in the hood. They're like, I live in low income housing or something. You did a tour. Boom! I did a tour in Baghdad. People do tours. They go on a vacation to tour stuff. you're
Mhm.
in a war zone tending
Mhm.
to detainees who are people we've
Mhm.
taken captive, and now you're offering medical care to these people.
That's absolutely right. And it was rough sometimes because you think about some of the disparities people have in the United States, healthcare, and things like that. But we were charged with giving kind of world class care to these people who may or may not have harmed Americans. So that was really a thing of sometimes you have to do the job that you've been handed, and you have to do it well, regardless if you like the circumstances or not.
Wow.
So that was an experience. But I met so many people, some people who are just still my friends today that I stay connected with, and I got really involved over there. I sang on the praise team for our little local chapel, and when you think church, this place is not that. And I
This is
sang
not
with
that. You
so
sing
what
too.
some I'm good in an ensemble.
Okay, okay, me too,
Um,
me too. I'm good. Hey, throw me in the choir,
I
the
hold the
ensemble. Yes.
I hold the altos down for a
Oh,
minute.
okay.
But something that people don't know is a lot of the security forces in Baghdad um, were Ugandan,
Mm.
and many of them lived there for years. You got to think we invaded Iraq not too long after 9/11, and a lot of these Ugandans were there from jump. So
Wow.
one thing, I know a lot of people are spiritual, but one of the things is, when God calls people together, it doesn't matter where you're from.
Yeah.
When two or more are gathered, so to speak. So,
So good.
so we sang together with the Ugandans, and we ate dinner together, and you
Amazing.
just really make a connection with people. And I tell people the military isn't always the greatest place, but the one thing you can't do is replace the people. And the
Right.
army will have you best friends with somebody you haven't seen in 10 years.
Is that
And
right?
it's one of those things you never really get out. I had somebody call about somebody that's still in today, and I'm like, do I need to hop on the highway? What needs to happen?
Wow.
Because we were concerned about their safety. And I'm like, say the word. So it's one of those things where that camaraderie, you just never really get rid of that because, you know, we call it in the military, we call it embrace the suck because
Mm.
these conditions are not great. The
Right.
weather isn't the greatest. It's 106 degrees at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
The food isn't always the greatest, but the people there, they do the best they can. You spend holidays away from your family, and they really do become your family away from family. And these people were all from Detroit. I didn't even know. I went with one person that I knew, and I left
Wow.
with family. So, that's the thing about being in the military is just you develop that camaraderie and you never lose it. My roommate from my first tour is one of my best friends today. I just talked to
Wow.
her yesterday. She lives out in Warren. So it's really one of those things where you just stay connected. But I came back and I decided, being in the military is a very unique experience. So I said,
Hmm.
well, how can I kind of keep this going when I come home? So when I got back to the University of Akron, I I became president of Military Veterans Association on campus.
So hold on, hold on. But so wait, you were in school at Akron and then went and then came back and went to school. Is that right?
I did.
Okay.
So what happened was, we backtracked to when I was broke and I
Oh,
joined.
bro. Okay. Okay.
So then
So
I
you
came.
joined.
So
Did
then I
what?
came
So
back.
is that why you joined? Why did you join the
I
military?
absolutely did. It became a point where it's one of those things where they're your family can do what they can for you, but they can't necessarily foot the entire bill of college.
Right.
So my mom would hold me down. She would buy me books. She'd leave me a 20 on the dining room table. And I had so many people who let me stay the night at their houses and eat up their food, sleep on their couch, and
Yeah.
all of that just to be able to get through that. So I basically joined because I couldn't afford to go to school anymore. I was
Wow.
working at Chapel Hill Mall, which isn't even a mall anymore.
Is Chapel
I
Hill
worked at
gone? Rolling Acres is gone. Chapel Hill is gone. All the malls is gone.
Summit is it.
Summit is all you
Um,
got in Akron.
so
Right.
I worked at Finish Line. I would get off work at Finish Line and walk next door to my job at Old Navy. And I just did that until I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, like I knew I couldn't just sit back and rest. I'm like, well, let's get it. So I
Mm.
went to basic training, and there were days where I would wake up and I'm like, what am I doing
What did
here?
I do? Like that's not.
Why am
Listen.
I here? Why am
Hold
I
on.
here?
That's real. And I want to talk to you
It's
about
real.
what that taught you about life because people are like, I joined the military, I'm in the military. And we're like,
Mhm.
okay, how was it? And you're like, I did a tour in Baghdad, right? I did a tour, okay, that's wild. But even basic training, it starts where I was told that you go to the military, they try to break you down to build you up. They try to
It's
tear down
absolutely true.
who you are to build up who they need you to be to go deal potentially in a war zone. It was that
Absolutely true.
that's
It's
what it is.
absolutely true. From day one, as soon as you, so I flew from Cleveland to Atlanta, and then
Mm-hmm.
they put us on a bus from Atlanta to Columbia, where Fort Jackson is. And they just start hollering at you as soon as you get off the bus.
Are you serious?
It's like, I'm not joking. As soon as you get off, they just get to hollering at you. But at the end of the day, you gotta just learn how to play the game. I was 20 when I joined. And at the end of the day, you just kind of, you got to figure out the game. You got to stay out the way, keep your head down, do what you need to do. And that's a skill that works in your regular life as well.
Yeah, yeah.
You just, there are days, one of my favorite quotes is, we do what we have to do in order to do what we want to
I
do.
love it.
And that's just,
Great
and I've
debaters.
lived,
Denzel Washington said
period,
that in there, I think, at one
period.
point.
And I
Yes.
just, I'm just, it was just one of those experiences. So it's like, once you learn to play the game, and once you realize what needs to happen, what doesn't need to happen, you start checking the people around you, like, listen, this is a common goal, so let's get it. So I graduated from basic training, and then I went straight to medic school, which is at Fort Sam Houston. So I got my EMTB, which every Army medic has to get that before they go to the Army portion of the medic school, and that's hell. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it is just a lot of getting up at the crack of dawn, running and gunning, getting yelled at. They're squirting fake blood on you. You're learning how to do IVs on people, laying outside the dirt, because they just try to simulate a battle zone as much as they can, because at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to save lives.
No, hold
I
on,
mean,
hold on.
people.
Listen. Okay, wait. I thought, now I said you did a tour. We talked about you doing a tour in Baghdad. I
Yeah,
really, in my mind, was picturing medics like kind of safely away from stuff. Like you're not really ever going to be really in the heat of the battle. You in the same country, right? But I didn't think like they're saying you might be helping pull this person whose leg was just blown off in.
absolutely. And they absolutely train you for that. Like, one of the scene, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Black Hawk Down, but one of the most iconic scenes is
Yeah.
where he pulled
And that's a
the
true story.
femoral artery. It's absolutely a true story.
Right.
He pulled the femoral artery out, because it had severed, and like, they train you to that level. Like, at the end of the day, you're there for no other reason to save lives. And fortunately for me, so back up one second. So after medic school, I went to LPN school. So I went to LPN school at Eisenhower Army Medical Center, which is at Fort Gordon in Georgia. So Fort Gordon is Augusta, Georgia, basically.
Okay.
So I went to, so that kind of transitions you to more of a clinical setting.
Mm.
But the thing about Army medicine and civilian medicine is, my scope of practice as an LPN is much larger in the Army than it is in the civilian side. So
Mm.
basically, if you have a PA or a doctor that trusts you enough to do it in the Army, other than run narcotics and blood products, then they'll really let you do it. That's not the same. That's not the same in the civilian realm. And I have an Ohio license, but I deactivated it just because I wasn't practicing.
Right.
So I got back home and I said, well, how can I continue this work? So I joined the Military Veterans Association at the University of Akron, and I served as the president there. And I also worked at the Military Services Center, just trying to help other student veterans like understand their VA educational benefits, which is not easy. The VA is on your own is a tough system to navigate.
Mm.
So you just kind of have to have someone there that's going to be able to help you with that. So I did that, and I got us involved in like different community events and helping other veterans in the community. And I made a lot of connections there. And that's also, so I also golf, and that's how I learned how to golf. So I learned how to golf through Renee Powell at Clearview, because she started a chapter of the umbrella is PGA Hope, but she started Clearview Hope, which was a program for women veterans which is like a therapeutic and recreational approach to golfing. So that's who taught me how to golf, and I still love it today. I
That's
still partner
amazing.
with her today to do that. So then I graduated, and I went.
So no, hold
So
on,
I graduated.
wait, pause. I gotta see. It's my job to pause things at times, just because some people are way too fascinating and they talk about their life like it's normal. Like, oh yeah, and then I'll also learn to golf real quick. Like, you're not talking top golf, because see, I can top golf real well. All right, you must come
That's
see
not.
me.
That's not the same.
That's not the same. That's not. But I be no, that ain't it. Okay, I got some clubs. I got some clubs in my garage though. They got spider webs and whatnot. But I'm gonna bust them out one day, because I keep saying I'm gonna learn to golf. I'm gonna take some classes. I went like the virtual thing in my basement. I'm like, I think I got room where I could set up a virtual thing and hook it up, and I'm work on it. But I'm gonna need some lessons. But so you also learn to golf, and then using golf. So you teach golf lessons? Is that, do you do that?
So I used to be the communications manager at Clearview, but then I got deployed. So
I heard, Sierra said you
so
golf golf. What's up, Sierra?
that's my best friend.
Is that right? Okay, shout out to
And she's not
Sierra.
lying.
Okay, she golf. All
um
right.
yeah,
Yes.
so I used to be the communications manager there, but then I got deployed for the second time, and we can circle back to that.
Okay. All right.
But I coached PGA Junior League there, and then today I assist Renee with LPGA USGA Girls Golf Program, which is fun because I have three girls that I coach that are on the golf team at East Canton now,
That's
and that just
awesome.
makes me very very proud because they've really grown just into great young ladies, and they are just phenomenal young women, and they're great golfers, and it just makes me proud to just have like a little bit of something. And then I used to be the marketing and events person for the city of Canton, Canton Parks and Recreation. And my favorite program is Little Pups Golf, which they partner with the First Tee. So keep an eye out for that, guys. This summer,
Okay.
I'll be promoting that. So it's $25 for Canton residents, which, if you know anything about golf, that is, oh, thank you. I
Everybody
love
loves you.
them.
See.
um, but it's a great program, and if you know anything about golf, you can barely get golf balls for $25.
Wow.
So the kids get a polo. They partner with the head McKinley golf coach, Terry, who's the instructor over at the First Tee. It's just such a great program, and I love golf. And the problem is, golf is the number one missed scholarship opportunity for minority children because we just
Wow.
don't know how to play. So if I
Wow.
could just do my little tiny part in helping, a couple kids, especially minority kids, learn to golf, then I'm all for that.
Well, I love that, because I honestly, you can ask my wife, every year I say I'm going to learn to golf. Aunt Hagen, Mrs. Gloria Pope is on here as well. She's done some golfing. Um, and me and her, Miss Pope, I don't know if you remember, but she came over here. I had a little golf net in my backyard. And she mentioned some things. I acted like I knew what she was saying, but I didn't. So I was like, oh, swing down. And then, okay. But I really always wanted to learn. I keep saying, as I get older, it's like, that's something basketball and regular sports hurt a little bit, at this point in life. So to be able to do something
That part.
competitive and something fun, and see people doing it well into their 60s, 70s, 80s, just throughout the rest of their life, to be able to get recreation, time with family and
Mhm,
friends, get some
mhm,
sunlight, some oxygen.
mhm.
I mean, the benefits of that is so great. And I think so few people really know that.
And
And
I think that's why golf is considered a lifelong sport. You
that's
play at your
amazing.
level over time. And the other thing is, people don't know how much business happens on the putting green.
It's
Like
real. That's real.
deals, deals are made playing golf.
Interesting.
If nobody else gets anything else out of that, deals are made on the golf course. And the thing about it is, you don't have to be a pro. You just A lot of people get out there and drink anyway. They get
They
out
don't know if they
there.
hit what they hit. They don't know what's going on. It's just hanging
Yeah,
out and talking.
yeah, they're out here, but a lot of deals are being made in the community. I mean, not in the community. I read Aaron's comment. Thank you, Aaron. But just learn. I mean, you don't have to be fantastic. It keeps you in shape. It keeps you walking. It keeps you limber. It you help. You know,
Oh, well,
you stay connected with people, and I definitely I'm a big golf advocate, especially for minorities.
I love it. I love it. So you guys stay tuned, and maybe as these programs come out, we'll have to talk again or share the information. Um,
Absolutely.
I think it's wonderful, and I want more information as well as it goes on. If they need some help with the little people, and then they'll show me too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it could work out for everybody. That's all I'm saying. So what else? You also do work with Aspire. We've had the pleasure of covering it from Lucas Live Media. The annual back to school giveaway that is done by Aspire. Shout out to Lisa Lucas again and the great work that they do. I know Lester Sanders is also involved, and myself, and working and the Aspire work. Talk to us a little bit about your work with Aspire, the goal of Aspire, and then what you do as a part of that.
So for the people that don't know what Aspire is, so Aspire is a program founded by Lisa Lucas, who's in the comments. And what happened was her nephew was a great athlete. He was on his way. He was getting D1 offers, and Lisa decided to kind of help him navigate that space. Well, then he had an injury, and then the offers started falling back, and that was devastating for him, but he was able to still go to school. So he went to Ashland. But when he got there, he just wasn't focused academically. Um, and he ended up coming back home. And so he started classes at Stark State, which was okay. But along the way, it just became too much. And unfortunately, James killed himself. And that was just very, very devastating for their family, devastating for, people in the community. But she decided, hey, if I can avoid at least one more child going through what he went through,
Yeah.
then that's what I'm going to do. And the community has gotten behind her, and that's what we're doing. So we teach class. So this past summer we did. Sorry, that was my cat. Um,
All good. All good. The cat is on the move.
so we taught Canton City schools volleyball, middle school football. We did Glen Oak High School basketball, and we did Glen Oak High School football. And we just went in and we talked to the kids about a number of topics: health, nutrition, wellness, staying focused, what recruiters look at. So my piece was, let's let's show them how we need to conduct ourselves on social media. How do we conduct ourselves in a light that shines positivity on not only myself but my teachers, my family, my community. How how not to lose scholarships. So a big part of one of my classes is just showing them, look at all these people who lost their scholarships talking on the internet, because we have a tendency to think that everybody needs our opinion. And
Mm,
because there are so many people available to us just at our fingertips, we want to pop off. Everybody needs to
mm.
know what I'm saying. My mom said I'm special. Somebody said they need to know, and now you've lost an opportunity of a lifetime because you thought everybody wanted your opinion, and they
Wow.
didn't. So
That's
I teach
deep.
them about that. I teach them about what um, coaches are looking for, what scouts are looking for, because the problem is a lot of these kids, they're athletic enough to do it, but what are your grades like? Are
Yeah.
you even a team player? Are you a
Mm.
selfish are you a selfish player? Are you willing to stand up for people who may not necessarily be able to stand up for themselves? It's bigger than just being an athlete. And it's also about being realistic about our abilities. If
Mm.
you're 5'6", it's very likely you will not be a wide receiver in the NFL.
Okay, that's a fair
It's just not
statement.
it's just not happen. It's just
You
not
might hit that
it's
growth
just not
spurt, but
happening.
you know,
It's not happening. And
right.
what people don't understand is only 2% of all high school athletes play at the next level. Not 2% of McKinley, not 2% of North Canton,
Great point.
2% nationally.
Nationally.
So
Great
that
point.
puts you at point 0.000. So okay, I'd like to play,
Yes.
but what are my other options? What else am I good at?
Yeah.
What, maybe I want to be in a vocation. Maybe I want to be in a trade. Maybe I want to major in something at a very specific school. So I need my test scores to be right. I need my grades to be right. And those are the things that we're trying to, steer kids to.
Lisa said she's done an
um,
amazing job. So much so that the districts want us slash her to speak with all their athletes. That's amazing. Christian is good, and the students relate well with her. She's a great asset to Aspire. That is
Thank
wonderful. That
you.
is from the
Thank you.
founder of
Thank you.
Aspire, Lisa Lucas, who we were just referring to. My cousin Lisa. So glad that that work is being done, and one, your understanding of why you understand why this organization was founded, which is important because it brings a different level of love and passion, care, and concern to the work. Two, you care about it yourself personally, about helping these young people do better and be better and see more, to see they're more than an athlete, right? They're more than just the game they play. And a lot of times people lose their identity in the games that they play or in their profession or whatever it is. People lose their identity in relationships. And that made me something we can talk about there. We've talked about that a little bit offline. Is that we need to know who we are. One of the biggest things that I've learned over the last few years is who am I? And it was one of the biggest questions I had to answer for myself. It's like, who am I? Am I just a husband? Am I a father? Am I a ministry? Am I just someone just in the community? I worked in childcare for many years in the community. And when that ended, I didn't know who I was. I was Mr. Lucas at McKinley Early Childhood Center for 15, 16 years. And when that ended, I was like, wait, who am I now? Then I got into consulting and other things. But do those things define who we are? Because if those things leave us, or if it's time to move on, do we still have an identity of our own? And I think to anybody out there watching, that is the work of life, to figure out who am I, number one, and figure out what you're going to do with who you are and how you're going to express that. And I like the idea that you don't have to express it in one way your entire life. So you can be an athlete, a high school athlete. You may even be a college athlete, but you may not be a professional athlete. You might be a semi-pro athlete, or you may be somebody who goes back to teach young people and others how to do what you did. Or you can take that mindset of being coached and coachable into business, into your family, into your community. So for us to figure out who am I, everybody write that question down. Who am I? Like as you look at 2023 and everything else, you have to ask yourself, who am I? Who were you before people started telling you who you were supposed to be? Who were you before you started being afraid of stuff? Who were you before somebody told you got to do this because you got to make money, right? Or you had children and you were like, well, I wanted to be this, but then I had a child and I was like, I'm stuck, right? So for us to really define that is amazing. And Christian, you seem to be someone who has reinvented yourself and just gone roll with the punches, because your journey hasn't just, this just wasn't a smooth ride. Like, oh, I just left high school, went to college for a minute, went to the military, then came back, went to college, everything was good. You faced quite a bit of adversity along the way yourself. So talk to us a little bit about that. One of the things you and I were talking about earlier again was knowing who's in your corner. You said that earlier. Understanding yourself in a relationship versus who you are as a person. Talk to us a little bit about your journey of defining who are you, Christian,
I
and what you went through to
I
get there.
think if anything, the one of the things that really defines me is resiliency. I
Love
have
that.
had to bounce
Love
back,
that.
so many times, and throughout my professional journey and my military journey, like, you know, as human beings, we want to be loved. Well, baby,
Yes.
love ain't always been good to me.
Hold up. What's
or at
love got
least
to do with it?
or at least chasing it. And
Yes.
I'll be candid with everyone. I never had a dad growing up. So
Mm,
one of my things is I wanted guys to stick around. Well, why doesn't he want to stick around? Why doesn't he want to stick around? And I found myself kind of trying to hold on to people who weren't loving me the way I needed to be loved. And I think that I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but with everything, cause and the other thing is I'm a board member of Hannah's House, which is an organization that serves young ladies in Stark County who are at risk for being trafficked.
mm,
So some way I'm gonna weave my story of all of this into Aspire, because even with athletes, um, teen dating violence is very real.
mm,
It's very, very real. And unfortunately, sometimes kids develop really negative ideas of what relationships are early, what they
mm,
should and shouldn't tolerate. And unfortunately, sometimes parents, we don't catch it until it's a little later in the game. But I have found that even in my relationships, part of my military journey is I had moved. So I graduated, I got a job after college, and then I moved with a man across the country. Well, it
mhm.
didn't work out. And I really should have left sooner, if we're just going to be completely
Okay,
honest,
just
but I
let's keep
didn't,
it
and
real.
that's
Let's lean
okay.
in,
And
everybody.
that's okay.
She should have left a little
Okay.
sooner, but
Amen.
sometimes you stay
Um,
around. Seems nice.
but
It
it's
was
okay.
nice.
It was cool. I
It
lived
was
in a
cool.
nice area. Amen.
Right. Yes,
But
things were good.
I ended up coming back.
Hmm.
And then some life circumstances happened, and then I found myself without a place to live. So
Wow.
I'm like, how am I with my degree, with my
Mm,
veteran, been to Baghdad, and since all your stuff is in your car?
mm,
But what I tell people is many of us are two steps away from rock bottom. It
wow.
only takes, it only takes a couple circumstances
Mm,
to just knock you away.
yeah.
And it's really about how we react to that. And I found myself in a position like legit was couch surfing. Like my cousin let me
Mm,
sleep on her couch. Like I had, I'm like, what am I about to do? And luckily, my good friend was like, I have a townhouse. Come live with me. But
mm.
nobody would have known that most of the stuff that I owned was in storage or in my
Wow.
car. I was coaching softball at the time. I was coaching 10U softball. I was still, hanging out with friends. And then I
Mm,
would go back and sleep on my air mattress. And I'm like, okay, what's next? So then
wow.
luckily, I found a job. It didn't take me super long. But in
Hmm.
the meantime, and luckily, I was responsible enough with my money to not, be with being able to sustain myself for that time period.
Hmm.
Um, and then I was like, well, what am I going to do next? But luckily, I found a job. And
Okay.
then that's when I started working at Clearview. And then Uncle Sam said, come on over. So then I got deployed again in
Oh, oh,
2017.
that Uncle Sam. I was like,
So
she got an Uncle Sam that it got
no,
jobs. I got an Uncle John. He got, Lisa's dad. He might be like, come on over. We can do some work. You met Uncle Sam as in the
the
head of our country. Tis of
the Uncle
thee
Sam.
called you over to do
Hmm.
another tour in Baghdad. So at that point, is that an option or that's
No,
you were part of this deal? We didn't care. We wasn't there when you was homeless, but come on back and we'll put you up out in
no,
the world
no,
somewhere.
you in this thing, you signed up for it, and when Uncle Sam calls, that's what you do. So,
Mm,
so I got deployed again. In the meantime, I got married, and then I got deployed. So
mm.
that was a very interesting transition to
Interesting.
to to that. Yeah, so I was with Special Operations Joint Task Force Iraq. So basically that was the coalition charged with defeating ISIS. And I don't know if y'all can see, but I have a little statue back here that's the winged bull of Nineveh, and ISIS actually destroyed that.
Say that
Um,
again. It was what?
it's it's called the winged bull of Nineveh. So
Wow.
Nineveh, Jonah and the
I was about
whale,
to say Jonah was
all
supposed to
of
go to
that.
Nineveh. He was like, I ain't going to
Yeah,
Nineveh. None of them
he ain't.
Ninevans.
That's
Them
how he
people
ended
in
up in
Nineveh
that
is
place.
crazy. I'm going the other
Yeah.
way.
So,
That's a real
but I
place.
just kind of,
Okay.
it is very much so a real place. But
Right.
unfortunately, it was defaced by ISIS. So I
Wow.
kind of keep that as a reminder. Um, of just my little part of being there and sharing some of the culture with the people there. I taught classes to Iraqi photographers. They would um, I would get kind of convoyed over to like their headquarters and I teach these classes with them, and it was just a really
Wow.
cool experience. And it was
So you went there
working with
again
special
as a
forces.
medic.
No, no, no. So I switched to public affairs.
Okay.
So I graduated. So the Department of Defense has a media school. They only have one, and it's called Defense Information School. So I graduated
Mm.
from the broadcast communications course at DINFOS. So I'm actually a trained Army broadcaster because I'm an Army Sergeant Christian Turner from Fort Meade, Maryland. Um,
I love
so
it.
I did so I did that for a while, and then but I'm also a photographer and a broadcaster. So that's the work that I did
Where did you
with
have
my
time to
last
learn
tour.
photography? So you're deployed again. You've learned new skills.
Mhm,
People go to the
mhm,
military to learn skills to come home with. You learn something,
mhm,
you come home. You learn more,
mhm,
you go back. You go back in a
mhm.
different capacity. Now you're not worried about attaching arteries to limbs and such. But now you're going back to public relate. What does a public relations person do? Like the news, like we're out here and they're shooting. I don't know. It's like,
So what I did, so there are people who are like on the military news, but I worked for. So what I would have to do is I would kind of have to survey like what the media there was reporting about ISIS. The
mm.
problem is I don't speak Arabic,
Oh,
so that was
okay.
very
Okay, you didn't
so
have
that was
time to
very
brush up
interesting.
on your Arabic.
So
Okay.
I used a lot of interpreters, a lot of Google Translate, and I would have to brief our general. Good morning, sir. This is what's going on in the media and here. And then what I also did was
Wow.
I worked at the United States Embassy in Baghdad with the OIR spokesperson. So he would every Thursday he would do what's called a what's it called Pentagon press corps brief. So the press
Mm.
corps for the Pentagon, they would be live at the Pentagon. So there's a satellite system called Divids that would the signal goes from DC to Atlanta to Baghdad. And we would broadcast those, and then as they ask questions, we would help the spokes person answer questions about like whatever
Wow.
came up. But I would write like some of the opening comments for the brief. So I'd have to know like what was going on in the region. what was being reported. So I would have to kind of rely on like our Iraqi partners to kind of get that information. So it was a really cool experience. I made a lot of friends and became cool with a lot of people from there. So it was nice.
Fascinating. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you guys know this, but as a host, I don't usually take a lot of notes, right? I just talk. We're just having conversations with the people I'm interviewing. But in talking to Christian, I was like, you have so many fascinating things about yourself. I started writing them down. And just so you guys know, I don't normally do this, but I have a list. And I'm checking off my list to be like, okay, we talked about that part now. We got to talk about this next part. Absolutely fascinating. And then I was writing things down and I started to star things to say, these things are most important to talk about. And I starred everything because everything that you have experienced and everything you've gone through and everything you've learned from and everything you're doing is absolutely incredible. I know somebody out there watching this is so inspired. Man, woman, boy, girl, young, old. Somebody out there watching this is so inspired. Like, if she could do all that in this lifetime, and y'all looking at her, she ain't that old. You're looking at her and you're like, sounds like she lived 2 lifetimes already. And we're struggling to live one, or we're struggling to accomplish one thing, or overcome one thing, or persevere through whatever you're going through. Or the word resilience, as she noted earlier, I love the word resilience because I think of resilience as a palm tree, right? A palm tree is built to withstand gale force winds. A palm tree will be in a hurricane and the news reporter will blow away and the palm tree will just be bending and then the palm tree will stand back up when the storm is over and be like, "Are you done yet, wind? I'm here for it, right?" But we live like in Ohio. We got these big trees that look all strong, like they can withstand anything. Get the wrong wind, the whole tree be uprooted, blown away, knocked over the power lines. It's like, how is that possible? Because resilience is not about how big or bad or strong or tough you look, whether you're a man, a woman, young or old. Resilience is a mindset about the ability to persevere and overcome whatever you're going through. To see this woman here today talking about the things that she shared so transparently, and we're going to hear some more, the things she shared so transparently, and to know that she's overcome each of those things and now she's using those experiences to give back to others, serving on the board of Hannah's House, as you were saying, working with these young athletes through Aspire. You also do some work that I'd love to talk about with the Stark County Prosecutor's Office when it comes to helping youth. So you're working, running your own business, giving back in many ways from your experience. Anybody out there who's not inspired, you need to rewatch the episode because this is absolutely fascinating and phenomenal. Christian, talk to us a little bit about your work with the Stark County Prosecutor's Office.
So I am the Public Relations and Community Initiatives Director for Stark County Prosecutor Kyle Stone, which is so just a little piece. I Kyle and I have known each other for a very long time. So when he shared with me he wanted to run for prosecutor, I said, "How can I help?"
Uh-huh.
Not with any motive, not with any, oh, I might get something out of this. But at the end of the day, I saw a man with a vision and I said, how can I help? So I ended up running the social media. So he decided to bring me on board. And I'm very grateful for that because I genuinely didn't go in expecting anything from him.
Wow.
But one of the things, so I do the PR stuff. So I, work with the military. I work with the media and get our stories out and do press releases and things like that. But the other thing is, we've really taken a role in education. And the American Bar Association says that prosecutors are not just case processors, meaning it's not just your job to put people in jail. It's how
Mm.
can we be a community asset as well. So one of the things we're doing is we're working to revamp our crime prevention plan, which I'm really looking forward to doing more of that work. But the other thing is we do a lot of education. And if I can soapbox for just 1 second, the
Please
one thing
do.
that I really, really, really have to stress to parents is staying in your kids' business. Um, we we have a human trafficking problem in Ohio, and everybody thinks it's their child. It won't be their child
Mhm.
until it's their child.
Wow.
We have, and so the way that parents can do that is stay in your kids' business. Go through those phones, go through those tablets, see who they're talking to on social media,
Mm.
see what these kids are like. And the problem is, some of these kids aren't really children. They're adults pretending to be children.
Yes.
And these kids start sharing personal information with them. And next thing you know, these people have figured out where your child lives, where they go to school, where they get on the bus,
Wow.
where they like to hang out. And unfortunately, kids are being taken. And very recently in our area, unfortunately, a girl met up with a man that
Mm.
she met on Snapchat. And we have a responsibility to protect our kids, protect other people's kids, stay in your friends' kids' business, stay in your own kids' business,
Mm.
because we have a responsibility to really, really protect our children from these people who just mean them no harm. So if I can say anything about that job, that's really the thing. That's really the thing that I really, really want to stress.
I love that, and you said that we were talking before the show a few days ago, and you were telling me about that, and I was fascinated as a father of young children, teenagers. My youngest is now 13, and I have a 17-year-old, and just remembering the journey of each child as phones became more prevalent, and then when do you get them a phone? Oh, it's nice to communicate. Oh, it keeps them safe. Oh, I can track them with their phone because they got the phone in a book bag at least. And not it's not an anti-phone thing. It's a stay in your
Mhm.
kids' business thing. The concept of our children having their own privacy is a very dangerous thing because um, there's so many predators out there, unfortunately, that they would not have been exposed to otherwise. But now, because of the internet, even games, I think you were saying, video game, chat rooms, they're on the game yelling and fussing. I know my son was always on the game arguing with his friends. I don't know who else was in those game rooms, right? Would I take that headset off and be like, who are you talking to for sure? Are you sure that's your friend? Do you know who else has joined this chat room? This party room, I think they called them on Xbox or something like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Even the little games like Roblox and things have little chats in there. So you think even
Mhm.
sometimes you look at your child's text messages and you think you got it. Well, any social media platform has its own messenger. Then the games have their own messaging systems. And then again, even an innocent child can think they're talking to a new friend from somewhere across the country or somewhere wherever, and they're talking to some adult man or woman who is grooming them to try to take advantage of them in some way, whether it be a one time or a unfortunately like a kidnapping, child trafficking thing. Those
Mhm.
things are happening every day. Is that right, Christian?
Absolutely. It's absolutely true. And it's one of those things where you don't want to scare people.
Okay.
Like you don't want to fear monger, but at the same time, like it's very real and it happens very much so right here in our state, in Stark County, in this area. And I really need to stress that enough. Like stay in your kids' business, watch out for our kids. And Laura, thank you. Laura is she's a teacher and
Yeah.
she sees just the focus these kids have on these electronic devices and how easy it is to get access to them. So we just really have a responsibility to protect our kids.
I love it. I love it. Let's talk a little bit. We don't have a lot of time left, but we're going to take maybe a few more minutes of your time, Christian, if it's okay. And to the audience out there, thank you guys so much for staying with us. After the show, if you know somebody who may, you wish they had watched this, tag them, call them, text them, send them the link to the show. It's not about views for us, it's about impact. It's about helping people. It's about telling great stories like this. For me here at Lucas Live and Lucas Live Media and all the things we do at Lucas Live Media is about bringing good into our community, talking about positive stories, and information that we need to know. So stay in your kids' business, everybody. Put that in the chat. Hashtag stay in your kids' business. Type it. Tell somebody. Somebody didn't want to go through their child's phone. I was a parent who didn't want to go through my children's phones. Let me say that. I'm
Mhm.
just not that person. I don't like going through nobody's phone. I don't even know that it feels like an invasion of privacy. I don't know that what it was. Or maybe I didn't want to find something. Maybe I didn't want to. I don't know. I assumed what they were doing. Maybe they said a few words they shouldn't say between them and their friends, and I didn't want to have to make a big deal out of it or whatever. I don't know what that was, but I had to work on that and had to say, I have to, because that's where I would find the things that I needed to know that was like, we got to cut this now because this could be worse. And it's not always a predator. Sometimes their friends are teaching them things that you don't teach them. Sometimes their friends are exposing them to things you would never expose them to. Now your child is not acting, you're saying, I didn't raise you like that. And that's true. But you didn't stop the other influences that were coming into them. What we become is what comes from inside of us. And we're like, that was always inside of them. And we highlight wonderful children like your daughter, who is like, that light was always inside of her. but there's things in this world that are trying to dim the lights of our children. There's so many things coming against them, from TV to music to media, that is just dark. Emotion, there's emo or something going on, and it's all about being lost in your emotions. Whoever said that was a good idea? Like, now we have our children overly emotional. Every child is sad. They're glorifying sadness and depression. We have to help our children. We have to stay in our kids' business. Christian, thank you for calling that out. Thank you for the work you're doing in that area. If you guys need more information, you guys have to follow Christian on social media. Christian, how can people find you in general? And then I wanted to talk a little bit about Fourth and Belden. But if people want to connect with you, what is the best way? Is it through your business? Is it through social media? If people
So
want more
I'm just
information.
Christian Turner on Facebook.
So let's keep it simple, everybody. You can read. It's on the
Keep it
screen here.
simple, just
Christian
Christian
Turner.
Turner.
Okay.
And then I have Fourth and Belden Photography, which is my business. And then
Uh,
my Instagram name is silly, but it's Chrissy Glitter Sparkle. So that's how you can find
Chrissy
me on
Glitter
Insta.
Sparkle.
Yes,
Okay,
so
I
that's how
found you
you.
today on there. I was like, is this her? Chrissy Glitter
That's
Sparkle.
me.
Yes, I like that. Wonderful.
And then yeah, so but yeah, so Fourth and Belden. So Fourth and Belden um actually started. It's actually a PR company. So
Mm.
I decided a little while ago I wanted to kind of help people kind of figure out what their business identity was going to be, and how I could kind of help. So I do a little bit of graphics. But then 2020 hit, and like I said, I've been shooting in the army for years. But that was like a lot of
Shooting what?
ceremony
What shooting in the army?
shooting. Well,
Oh,
both.
pictures and such. Okay, I didn't know.
However, don't get
And
it twisted. I got a good shot.
okay. She like, don't play with me. I'll
After
shoot your
13
pictures
years,
and I'll
don't
shoot
play
your
with
eye
me.
out. Keep playing with me. Okay, I got you.
You
All
remember the
right.
video? F around and find out.
Yeah, no, no.
Um,
See what happens. See which one I pull out. I pull out a tool. Yes.
but so actually, I decided to really turn into a business. Briseis was born June 2020, and I don't know if people remember this pandemic that we experienced.
You went into the
But it wasn't a
hospital and
lot.
had a baby in the pandemic
Yeah, it was an
by
experience. It was
yourself,
a whole
probably.
experience. I had one person.
Okay. Okay.
I
I'll
had
take.
one person, and they
Okay.
were dead serious about it being one person.
Yes.
Um, so I wanted to take newborn pictures of Briseis, and I was about to be off work for about 10 weeks or so. So I was looking at my budget, and I said, I know how to shoot. Um, so I took them myself, and I said, I'm gonna do this. And I was a little hesitant at first, and I think Fourth and Belden is really a testament of, there are people who want to start a business or they want to get going, but they think they have to have top of the line everything. Like,
Mm.
my army camera kit was everything, child. Uncle Sam wasted no money on my camera kit. But
What?
when I get back to Fourth and Belden, so for those of you who don't know, I grew up literally at the corner of Fourth
Did
and Belden
you?
Northeast. So that's where the name comes from. And I
Wow.
play no I love my neighborhood, and I hope that it will have a turnaround and thrive. But I'm Fourth and Belden
I mean,
all day. And
Where is Fourth? Is Fourth and Belden on
Belden
the
is
same side of
literally
Tusk
across
as
the
Belden
street from.
Elementary?
Yes,
It was Third was like it was a church and some other was that
it's still
Third
there.
in Belden? Okay, it was a church. Apostolic Faith used to be there when I was really young. We went to church. I went to
Yes,
church there at Third and Belden. I think that
yes,
was Third. And so Fourth
yes.
is just up the street. You grew up right on Fourth and Belden. Can't no hide.
Yep, literally.
Right.
That's where I call home. So that's where the name came from.
Uh-huh.
But I think that Fourth and Belden is a testament to where people think they gotta have $1,000 equipment. They gotta have top of the line everything. And like you and I discussed before we got on here, you started very small.
Yes.
Webcam, microphone. I know that's right. Shout out to Second Street, Darno.
Okay, right. Darno. Dar was over there with me in 10th Street too when I was growing up. Went to 10th Street. She know what's up. She know Canton. She know.
But we talk ourselves out of our dreams a lot.
Yes.
I don't have the money, I don't have the equipment, I don't have the everything that I need. And I started with a camera I got from Target.
Mm.
And I go from there. And the camera that I have now is actually a refurbished camera because my old camera broke. And I plan to get a new one soon. But it's
But
done the
it's
job.
working. Shout
It's
out to
it's
you.
working.
You are our
Mhm.
photographer for my wife runs a company called It Is Written. She had a fashion and art gala first time ever reached out to you. You came out. You were a photographer. You was up on step stools and standing around all over the place. I was like, where's she at? She right here somewhere. You were catching all the moments and people engaging, and it was just absolutely incredible. And you're saying you started this business with a camera you have from Target, and you and I were talking earlier. I started with a Logitech. That's what it was, a Logitech C922 webcam. Hey everybody, this is Lucas Live. I had a desk lamp shining at me, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I don't even know what the show is called. I was like, I think this is gonna be a show. I'm gonna be back on tomorrow. And all I was doing was going through a process of developing a skill set, a gift that was inside of me, but we don't unwrap our gifts because we don't think we have enough money, enough following. And you and I talked about this earlier. We said it doesn't matter how many people get on this show and watch us live, because it's not about that. You can't get caught up watching numbers thinking it's only 2 people on, it's only 3 people on. It doesn't matter. If you're doing something and you're passionate about it and you care, you're doing it for the one person who cares. Just keep doing it. Don't stop. So Fourth and Belden started because you lived at Fourth and Belden, and it is not just a photography company. It is a PR firm, and you're still willing to help people with various things, or is it
Well, I think
currently
it's some.
photography focused or what?
Well, it kind of it turned into that.
Yeah.
However, I just think that sometimes people need somebody to help to just kind of say it out loud. It's just like Marcus knows.
You
He
know
absolutely
Marcus?
knows.
You know
So
Chef
Marcus and I are
Marcus?
Facebook friends. I think we met in real life one time.
You need to meet him in real life. Y'all, everybody need to meet. We're gonna have a Lucas Live meet and greet one day, and everybody gonna meet. Marcus, I gotta have you on the show too. I'm gonna reach out to you. We gotta have you on the show. Anyway, yes. So
But at the end of so that's kind of where I'm at. But like, some people don't know how to kind of, I've made logos for people just kind of starting out and, just, we all have to just figure it out. But
yeah,
nothing's going to happen if you do nothing.
yes,
Like you can't just sit and do nothing and expect great things to happen. And like we were talking earlier about content creation, which is something I need to get on more, is you have to just be prepared to do it regardless of who's watching. You're not going to have 10,000 views to start out. You're not going to have, you know, those of us who are familiar with analytics and website traffic, you're not going to have,
right,
1,000 unique visitors every month for your first month. Like
right,
you just got to get there somehow, and you can't do it by doing nothing. I don't know if
yes.
I'm preaching to y'all or myself, Lord, because you know.
You gonna do it too?
Um,
Because you said you want to write a book too. I'm just so you
I
guys know, I'm in
do.
the middle of a writer's boot camp with my lovely wife Kareem Marie. She teaches people how to write books. Anybody out there with a book idea that you're just not getting done and not getting out of, you unwrap your gifts. Hashtag unwrap your gifts. I wrote a book before years ago, and now I'm writing a new one, and I'm working with my wife. I said, babe, we're gonna get up in the morning, treat me like a client. I ain't paying you, but I'm gonna take you to dinner whenever you want. But anyway, I take care of her. But I said, let's work, let's do it. And she said, let's go. So we're up in the morning. She's phenomenal at it, and she starts off so simple. The first day, the questions were really simple, like, what do you want to talk about? I'm like thinking about it, and she helped me take it from, like, I'm not even sure what I wanted to say exactly, and every day just a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and the process is already working amazingly. And in 2 weeks, I'm gonna have a book. I'm gonna write a book in 2 weeks. I've written a book before. In 2 weeks, I'm gonna write a book with her help. So anybody wants Kareem Marie, say what's up in the comments, babe. Let them know how they can get a hold of you. Kareem Marie, is your website kareemmarie.com? And can they get to you there? I don't know. She always doing new stuff. So anyway, check her out at Love Kareem Marie on Instagram. She can work with you. She does a writer's workshop and she does one-on-one training. And you've known her forever, so I know y'all can get together. But anybody out there who's thinking about a book, shout out to her. Quick commercial. Thank you. Continue. What were
I was
we saying?
just
So
saying how, you know, I've helped. I realize I've always, sometimes you find yourself just giving stuff away for free.
okay,
But
right?
when you see the vision in somebody and you see what they're trying to do, you just kind of get to a point where like I have to help this person see it through, regardless if there's anything for me or not. But at the same time, and like we talked about earlier, you can't get used. You
Yes.
gotta be in relationships of reciprocity, whether it's a love relationship, whether it's a business relationship. You just, because that's how people get resentful, that's how they get burnt out. So we
Yes.
just want to make sure that we're keeping our business relationships reciprocal. But that's
I
how I
love it.
started Fourth and Belden. So my website is fourthandbeldenphoto.com. I'm going to be doing some updating soon.
Okay.
There are some things that I definitely want to do for 2023 and just help people, get more motivated. But I think if, at the end of the day, what I found is I've kind of found my little niche in the community. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I just want to see people succeed. I want to see people be at peace. I want to see people living in their dreams. I want to see, people cultivating in a space for prosperity. And I think that essentially that's just my goal. So whether or not it's my day job, my side hustle, my work with Aspire, my work with Hannah's House, I volunteer with Fatherhood Coalition sometimes. Is my work in golf. Like, at the end of the day, I just really want to see people win in whatever that capacity is.
I love it. I love it. I love it, Christian. I'm so glad I got this opportunity to interview you and talk to you in front of everybody. I've wanted to interview you just to talk to you myself personally. So I got your number now. So I'll just be calling like, Christian, what you doing? I need to know some stuff.
Hey.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating. Shout out to Stark County Prosecutor Kyle Stone is here. Thank you so much for being here, Kyle. Thank you for the great work you're doing in the
Thank
community.
you.
Um, Fascinating. I mean, Kyle again is a community partner working in the community. It's not about how many people we can put behind bars. It's about making sure the people who are behind bars should be there or should not be there, and we need to get them out if they're not supposed to be there. I see the work he's doing there, as well as cleaning up our streets, not just from a I'm going to sweep you up and throw you in a box, but I need to educate you. We need to have resources in our community. We need education. We need help so that we need jobs. We need resources so that people don't go down a road of crime because they feel like that's their only option. So shout out to Kyle Stone. He is a unique person, a great friend of mine, super proud of the work that he's doing. Thank you so much, Kyle, for all your work here in the community. We can't thank you enough. Thank you all who are watching here tonight. Christian, I can't thank you enough for being here. Stay tuned. Stay right there, Christian. I'm going to talk to you. I know you got to get Bree. Grandma, you still out there watching? Bree, is Bree okay? Hold on to her for just another second. Thank you guys so much for the love on the show. Christian, stay right there. Everybody, thank you guys so much for being here with us for another episode of Lucas Live. It's my absolute pleasure to bring this to you. This was our season 3, second episode of season 3. So much fun getting this opportunity to interview great people like Christian. Yesterday we had Hubert Carpenter, and we're going to have more. Check us out next week and every week. We're going to bring on more great guests and talk about their great stories. We're here to educate, motivate, and liberate. We want to educate you about the things going on that you need to know. We want to motivate you to do something with the information that you're learning so that you can change your life forever. We want to liberate you. We want to set you free. There's no limits. There's no boundaries. There's no limitation, lack, or failure. Don't believe anything can stop you. Whatever you believe is true for you. So believe in yourself and nothing can stop you. Thank you guys so much for being here with us for another episode of Lucas Live. We'll see you guys next time. Everybody, have a good night.